here is Bill Clinton on with CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin. I was talking about Clinton. I wasn't talking about Sorkin, incidentally. Now, for years, I've been interviewing, I can't remember, Daniel Levy, who was on the negotiating team. Where was that?
Camp David?
No, it wasn't Camp David. I'm sorry.
Oslo?
Yes, Oslo, on the Oslo Accords that Bill Clinton is going to reference here. And let's hear Bill Clinton talk about it. Now, remember, they deployed Bill Clinton to go to Michigan and tell Arab and Muslim voters, look, you guys don't understand what's going on here about Judea and Samaria, and you just need to chill and not worry about the ongoing genocide, which incidentally, we now have like one of the most prestigious aid organizations in the world.
Amnesty International.
Very detailed report on the acts of genocide committed by Israel. We just had a former member of Netanyahu's cabinet come out and say this is ethnic cleansing. Here is Bill Clinton saying, you guys don't understand still. Let me go to the Deal Book Summit and talk about this.
Look, I think what's happened there in the last 25 years is one of the great tragedies of the 21st century. And when I tell the young people, for example, who are understandably in America, let's say they're super sympathetic with the Palestinians. Well, they've been killed. A lot of those Palestinians have, and all they know is that a lot more Palestinians have been killed than Israelis.
Yeah.
And I tell them what Arafat walked away from, and they can't believe it. I said, oh yeah, he walked away from a Palestinian state with a capital in East Jerusalem, 96% of the West Bank, 4% of Israel to make up for the 4% that the settlers occupy that were beyond the borders in the 67 war. And I go through all the stuff that was in the deal, and it's not on their radar screen. They can't even imagine that happened. And I tell them, the first and most famous victim of an attempt to give the Palestinians a state was Prime Minister Rabin, whom I think loved as much as I ever loved another man. And so Rabin, he dies, and then Shimon Peres is defeated in the election, and the rest of it is history. But you walk away from these once-in-a-lifetime peace opportunities, and you can't complain 25 years later when the doors weren't all still open and all the possibilities weren't still there. You can't do it. It's just...
Your voice just cracked when you said that.
Oh, wow. His voice cracked? Maybe that's a sign that he's just talking out of his ass. It was the Oslo II Accords that Daniel Levy was involved in, and I think Taba as well. And but the easiest way to express and debunk what Clinton is saying about these percentages, because that was the big talking point. Arafat walked away. And also, to be clear, the door was more or less shut, but Ariel Sharon purposely went on to the Temple Mount to spark what was, I think, the first Intifada. The deal that Arafat walked away from, best summed up as, I'm going to make a deal about how much of the house I give in the context of a divorce. And you can have 98% of the house. I get the bathroom and the kitchen. all I want is the sinks and the toilets and the showers. And you can have the rest of the house. That was basically the nature of giving 98% of the West Bank back, except we control the infrastructure. We control all of the things that make it possible to live in that 98% territory.
I'm sure, Sam, I know you did sit-ins for apartheid in South Africa. I'm sure heard the term Bantustan, if I'm saying that correctly. I think I've only seen it written, right?
Yeah.
Bantustan, basically offers to essentially create like a state for black people in South Africa. And this is the same tactic that is deployed when discussing a separate Palestinian state defined by ethnicity and race, essentially. And so, no, the reality is like that it was insufficient, and they were, I mean, I don't know, like perhaps a Palestinian state could be the first precursor to one democratic state from the river to the sea, which is what needs to be the end goal there. But the idea that he's essentially blaming the Palestinians for not accepting a deal that would just have more formalized their oppression and the land seizures since the 1967 borders, and of course, since the creation of the Israeli state. I mean, it's the equivalent of blaming civil rights leaders for the oppression of black people in this country. You have to always go back to those who have the most power over this. And it is the United States and its proxy colonial state, Israel, where the blame lies.
And, you know, the thing that he leaves out of this whole thing, too, is the fact that, like, the people who literally run Israel now were the cohort that praised the assassination of Rabin in Israel. So the blame is all the Palestinians. Maybe they could have taken that deal. Maybe, maybe it was wrong of the Palestinian people to not realize that over time, the U.S. would become less and less of even a somewhat biased broker into a full-on, like, midwife of the ethnic cleansing. I don't know if everybody could see that coming. But the idea that there is, like, this is largely a function of, the Palestinian people not taking the scraps that were offered them is, it's grotesque. It's grotesque.
Why does this person have to have any involvement in our politics anymore? Like, George W. Bush is doing his little paintings or whatever.
I know it.
Mitt Romney was a senator, and he just gave some stupid-ass highfalutin speech as if he didn't vote for like 90% of Donald Trump's agenda before retiring today. He gave that speech. Like, the Republicans will extricate the former members of their party that don't serve their current interests, and yet we have to deploy this predator who smeared a young intern who he had an affair with as the president of the United States, and tried to ruin her goddamn life, and was all over the Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein. We've got to, like, give a crap what this guy has to say. Get out of public life. You're shaking. You're old. You can barely hear anything. Go sit on the beach somewhere.
Ride on that top of that plane. I did not ride on top of the plane.
Well, that's...
I did not ride on the plane. On the plane.
That's...
See what I did there?
Yeah, that would have been made a great lawyer, Bill.
Oh, thank you. I was. Did not ride on the plane. Never, ever, not once did I ride on the plane. So Okay, I can't stick around to ask any more questions. No more follow-ups. Sorry. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.